What's up everyone out there in beautiful Bitcoin land? Today I'm going to be showing you how to set up a Yeti level 1 Bitcoin wallet. To start, head on over to a PC and launch an internet browser. And you're going to want to go to yeticold.com. So here you can see the 3 different Yeti level wallets. Yeti level 3 is the most secure, while Yeti level 1 is the least secure. Level 1 is recommended for storing under 5,000 USD worth of Bitcoin. It is very easy to back up and restore and requires only a single computer to set up. So let's go ahead and click on the level 1 button. Step 1, gather required equipment. Gather the following items and then click Next. A laptop that can run Ubuntu and Bitcoin Core. Almost any laptop made to run Windows will work, but if your laptop has a solid-state drive type hard drive, some steps will take a few hours instead of a few days. Laptops without SSD type drives cost about $150 USD, and laptops with solid-state drives cost about $200 USD brand new. You can also buy a used laptop on eBay for about $60, or you can purchase and return a laptop from a store like Amazon or Walmart. You're going to also need an optical drive to write the CDs. Most laptops come with one built in, but you can also buy an external optical drive for about $15 on Amazon. 5 blank CDR disks. Label each of the blank disks level 1 seed. 2 USB thumb drives. These will cost about $3 each and will be used to install Ubuntu and to erase your laptop. Label one Ubuntu and the other transfer. Okay, and once you gather all the required equipment, let's go ahead and click Next. Step 2, install Ubuntu. Install Ubuntu on your laptop following these rules. Use the long-term support LTS version of Ubuntu. This is currently 20.04 and is at the top of the download page. Yeti has not been well tested with any other Ubuntu version or Linux distribution. Use only trustworthy guides such as this one. Install Ubuntu. Use the USB drive you labeled Ubuntu to create a bootable Ubuntu drive. So let's go ahead and click the Install Ubuntu link. And that's going to take us over to the Ubuntu website. So I've actually already gone over this guide in another video. So I'm going to cut to that video. And when we're done with that, we're going to come back to the steps and continue the wallet setup guide. Okay, so this is the opening page, the overview. We're just going to go ahead and skip through that. So down below here, we see that it says we also have several tutorials that explain how to create an Ubuntu DVD or USB flash drive. We're going to be doing the flash drive. So we're going to go ahead and open up that tutorial page and go ahead and find how to create a bootable USB stick on Windows and select that. Skip over to step 2 requirements. You're going to need, again, a 4 GB or larger USB stick / flash drive, Microsoft Windows XP or later, Rufus, a free and open source USB stick writing tool, an Ubuntu ISO file, and again we're downloading the LTS version, and it has a link to go ahead and download that. Let's start off with Rufus. Head on over to their website, and we're going to download Rufus 3.13. And then we're going to head on back to the requirements and get Ubuntu page so we can download the LTS version. Go ahead and click Ubuntu Desktop and the Ubuntu 20.04.1 LTS. And we're going to go ahead and download that. So this is a fairly large file, so I'm going to let that download and I'll be back in just a second. Okay, and the Ubuntu desktop file has downloaded. So let's go back to the bootable USB stick tutorial and head over to step 3. And it says to launch Rufus. So let's go ahead and launch Rufus. There she is. Insert your USB stick. So I have an HP 8 GB stick. I'm going to go ahead and put in the computer. And then Rufus will update to set the device within device field. Let's see if it did that. Yes, it did. And it's the only device I have currently in the computer. So it's the only one to select. If you had something else in the computer, it might show 2 devices. So make sure you have nothing else connected and it'll be easy to pick the correct one. Step 4, boot selection and partition scheme. Get that back up. Okay, now choose the boot selection. Choices will be non-bootable and FreeDOS. Since you are creating a bootable Ubuntu device, select FreeDOS. Okay. The default selections for partition scheme, MBR, and target system BIOS are appropriate and the only ones available. Okay. Step 5, select the Ubuntu ISO file. To select the Ubuntu ISO file you downloaded previously, click the select to the right of the boot selection. So we got the boot selection right there. Hit the select. Open up the ISO file. Select the appropriate ISO file and click open. Write the ISO. The volume label will be updated to reflect the ISO selected. Yes, it did. Leave all the parameters with their default values and click Start to initiate the write process. So it's telling me I need to download a couple files to continue the process. So let's go ahead and do that. You will then be alerted that Rufus has detected that the Ubuntu ISO is an ISO hybrid image. This means the same image file can be used as a source for both a DVD and a USB stick without requiring conversion. Keep Write in ISO image mode selected and click OK to continue. And it's just telling me all the data is going to be wiped. So make sure it is backed up if there was any data on it to begin with. This is a fresh USB stick, so I don't have to worry about that. And it's saying it should take about 10 minutes. So I'll be back in a few. Okay, and we're back. The ISO file has completed. It says ready, so we're going to go over to step 10, installation complete. When Rufus has finished writing the USB device, the status bar will be green and filled with the word ready. Yes. Select close to complete the write process. Awesome. We're going to head back over to the install Ubuntu desktop tutorial. Most computers will boot from the USB automatically. Simply insert the USB flash drive and either power on your computer or restart it. If your computer doesn't automatically boot from the USB, try holding F12 when your computer first starts. Okay, we're going to go ahead and switch computers and go over to my laptop. Okay, so after putting my USB flash drive into my laptop and restarting the computer, nothing happened. So as per instructions, I pressed the F12 key on reboot and nothing happened either. So I went back to the tutorial page and read that F12 is the most common key for bringing up your system's boot menu, but Escape, F2, and F10 are also common alternatives. So I tried all three of those. Those didn't work either. So I went online and looked up my HP laptop and how to get to the boot menu, and it turns out I have to go through the Windows settings to get to it. Every device is going to be a little bit different. Again, the end goal is to get to the boot menu and boot from that USB thumb drive. So I am going to show you how to do it using an HP laptop. You're going to want to go to the bottom left corner to the Windows icon and go to Settings. And from there, you're going to go to Update and Security. And then click the Recovery tab. And under Advanced Startup, click Restart Now. And then we're going to go to Troubleshoot, Advanced Options, UEFI Firmware Settings. And then click Restart. Now we see the startup menu. Hit F9 for the boot menu. Arrow down to USB hard drive and hit enter. So now we're booting from that flash drive. And that takes us to the Ubuntu install page. Okay, now that I've shown you how to create a bootable Ubuntu USB on a Windows PC, I'm going to show you how to create one on a Mac. Okay, now we're on the overview page for the install Ubuntu on your desktop tutorial, so let's skip ahead to requirements. So down below you're going to see we also have several tutorials that explain how to create an Ubuntu DVD or USB flash drive. So let's open that up in a new tab. And we're going to scroll down until we find Create a Bootable USB Stick on macOS. Let's go ahead and click that. Okay, we're going to skip the overview again and go to Requirements. You will need a 2 gigabyte or larger USB stick / flash drive, an Apple computer or laptop running Mac OS, and an Ubuntu ISO file. See Get Ubuntu for download links. So let's go ahead and download that ISO file. Right-click Open in New tab. Ubuntu downloads, Ubuntu desktop. Go ahead and click on that. And Ubuntu 20.04.2.0 LTS. Let's go ahead and download that. Okay, so that's going to take a few minutes, and when it's done, I'll be right back. Okay, so the ISO file has successfully downloaded, so let's go back to our tutorial. X out of that tab, and prepare the USB stick. To ensure maximum compatibility with Apple hardware, we're going to first blank and reformat the USB stick using Apple's disk utility. But this step can be skipped if you intend to use the USB stick with only generic PC hardware. So we are going to be using this with a Mac. So let's go ahead and do that disk utility step. Launch disk utility from the Applications Utilities or Spotlight search. Okay, we're going to go down to the Finder. Go to Applications, Utilities, and Disk Utility. Okay. Insert your USB stick and observe the new device added to Disk Utility. Okay. Pop that in. Go back to Disk Utility. And there it is, no name. Go back to the steps. Select the USB stick device. You may need to enable the option View, Show All Devices, and select Erase from the toolbar or right-click menu. Set the format to ms-dos, parentheses, FAT, and the scheme to Guide Partition Map. Check you've chosen the correct device and click Erase. Okay. We have no name selected. Going to go up to Erase. Format ms-dos FAT32, so let's change that to ms-dos FAT, and click Erase. And click the Done button. Go back to the steps, and go to the next step. Install and run Etcher. To write the ISO file to the USB stick, we're going to use a free and open source application called Etcher. After downloading this and clicking to mount the package, Etcher can either be run in place or dragged into your applications folder. By default, recent versions of macOS block the running of applications from unidentified developers. To sidestep this issue, enable App Store and identified developers in the security and privacy pane of system preferences. If you are still warned against running the application, click Open Anyway in the same pane. Okay, so let's go to Settings, Security and Privacy. And the App Store and Identified Developers is already checked, but if it wasn't, we could always unlock, punch in our password, and then we could change it. Okay, let's X out. Okay, let's go ahead and download Etcher. Go ahead and right-click Etcher, open a new tab. Head on over to their site and click the Download for Mac OS. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let that download, and when it's done, I'll be right back. Okay, so Etcher has successfully downloaded, so let's go back to the steps, X out of that tab. Let's go ahead and run Etcher, so I'm going to go down to Finder, Downloads, and double-click Etcher. And double-click Etcher again. Yes, open it. Okay, and I'm going to go back to the steps. Etcher configuration. Etcher will configure and write your USB device in 3 stages, each of which needs to be selected in turn. Select Image will open a file requester from which should navigate to and select the ISO file downloaded previously. By default, the ISO file will be in your Downloads folder. Okay, let's go back to Etcher. Flash from File. Downloads. And Ubuntu ISO file, and click Open. Okay, go back to the steps. Select drive, replaced by the name of your USB device if one is already attached. Lets you select your target device. You'll be warned if the storage space is too small for your selected ISO. Okay, let's go back. Select target. Okay, I'm going to select my flash drive and click select. Go back to the steps. Flash will activate when both the image and the drive have been selected. As with Disk Utility, Etcher needs low-level access to your storage hardware and will ask for your password after selection. Okay, go back to Etcher and click Flash. Pop in my password. Okay, so that says it's going to take about 10 minutes. So when it's done, I'll be right back. Okay, the write to device has completed. Flash complete. The disk you inserted was not readable by this computer, so we're just going to go ahead and eject that. Take that out. Go back to my steps. Write to device. When everything has finished, Etcher will declare the process a success. Congratulations, you now have Ubuntu on a USB stick, bootable and ready to go. All right, awesome. So let's go to boot to your Mac. Step 7, boot your Mac. If you want to use your USB stick with an Apple Mac, you'll need to restart or power on the Mac with the USB stick inserted while the Option/Alt key is pressed. This will launch Apple's Startup Manager, which shows bootable devices connected to the machine. Your USB stick should appear as gold/yellow and labeled EFI boot. Selecting this will lead you to the standard Ubuntu boot menu. Okay. So you can get a little picture of what that's going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and power down my Mac, and I'll show you how to boot from the flash drive. Okay, so I've closed out all of my windows. I'm going to shut down the Mac, click the Apple icon, and click shut down, and shut down again. So now I'm going to insert my bootable USB drive, turn on the Mac, and hold down Alt Option. And that's going to bring up the boot option. Select the EFI boot, either one will work, and hit the arrow up. And that's going to run Ubuntu. And it's going to take us to the Install Ubuntu page. And we're not going to install yet, we're just going to try Ubuntu. Okay, and once the screen pops up, you're going to go to the bottom left corner where the 9 dots are, Show Applications. Go to Disks. And now we're going to delete each partition on the hard drive. So you're going to hit the minus button and delete. That was the first partition. We're going to go to the second one. Same deal, minus button, delete. Third partition, delete. And the last partition, minus button, and delete. Now we're going to add a partition that takes up the entire space of the hard drive, so 128 gigabytes. Hit create, and it's creating the file system. Once that's done, you can X out and click the Install Ubuntu. And we're going to select English and hit continue. Keyboard layout, English, continue. And we're going to do minimal installation and hit continue. Erase disk and install Ubuntu, install. Continue. And then we're going to select our location and hit continue. And then we're going to put our name in and a password. And click continue. After that installs, go ahead and restart now. And then it's asking me to please remove the installation medium. So just take out your flash drive and hit enter. Continue boot. Once that reloads, log back in. And to finish the install, live patch, just hit next. No, don't send system info. Next. Location services, no. Hit next. And we're ready to go. Okay, now that we have Ubuntu installed, we're going to go ahead and check for updates. But first, we need to connect to the internet. Unfortunately, my HP laptop doesn't have an Ethernet port, But luckily I have this Ethernet to USB adapter. So I'm just going to plug my Ethernet cable into this and plug the USB in. And in the top right corner, we're going to be able to see that we are now connected to a wired connection. Awesome. Now you can also connect to your Wi-Fi. At the top right corner, hit the down arrow and Wi-Fi not connected. So I'm going to click on that, select network, and I'm going to find my network, connect, type in my password, and connect. Okay, now that you've entered your password, we can double check to make sure the Wi-Fi is connected. And it is. So now you can either use a wired connection or your Wi-Fi connection. Okay, now that we have an internet connection, let's go ahead and check for updates. To do so, go ahead and click the 9 dots in the bottom left corner, Show Applications. And right here, you're going to double click Software Updater. It's going to go ahead and tell us if we have any updates to install. And go ahead and click Install Now. It's going to prompt you for your password. Go and punch that in. Okay, now that the software updater has installed all the updates, let's go ahead and restart now. Now that you've restarted, let's head on back over to your other computer where we have yeticold.com pulled up and head back to step 2. It says when it has finished installing the update, click Next on this page. Okay. Step 3, switch to your Ubuntu laptop. On your freshly installed Ubuntu laptop, open Firefox and type the following URL into the address bar to continue to step 4. Okay, I'm going to head back over to my laptop and open Firefox. And I'm going to punch in 1.yeticold.com. Step 4, download Yeti to your laptop. On your laptop, click on the 9 dots in the bottom left corner of your Ubuntu desktop and then click Terminal. Click Copy to copy the text below this line. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click Copy that. Go to the 9 dots, Show Applications. Bring up the terminal. Right-click, Paste. Hit Enter. And I'm going to punch in my password. Hit Enter. Okay, now we're to create or recover a wallet. Very exciting. So let's go ahead and hit the Create Wallet button. Now that's going to launch Bitcoin Core, which will start syncing to the blockchain. Right now, the blockchain is roughly 340 gigabytes, so it's going to take a while. The time it takes is going to depend on if you have a solid-state drive and if you have a good internet connection. So I'll be back when it's done. And I'm back. After 5 days, I have finally synced to the Bitcoin blockchain. Now, it did take me 5 days, but it probably should have only taken me 1. Unfortunately, my internet service provider decided to throttle me. But no matter how long it takes you, do not be discouraged by the process. You don't have to do anything, and you just have to sit back and relax and wait for it to sync. But once it does, now you know the entire Bitcoin network is being honest with you. And you have validated every single transaction in Bitcoin's history. Knowing there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins without trusting anyone is priceless. Okay, so let's head back on over to step 5. Finish downloading the blockchain. Now that Bitcoin Core is synced to the blockchain, go ahead and hit the next button. Okay. So this is an unnecessary, but kind of a cool step that you can take to add more randomness to the Bitcoin seed creation process. Now, the Bitcoin Core developers are expert cryptographers and have already sufficiently done the work to randomize your Bitcoin seed creation process. Again, this is just something you can do if you want to go the extra mile, and it can't hurt anything. But because it is unnecessary, we're just going to go ahead and click the skip button. Okay, step 7, copy seeds to CDs. Insert one of your 5 blank seed CDs, open the Files application and click on Documents. Copy the folder named yetiseed.txt to the CD and click Write to Disk and then click Burn. When you see the data CD successfully burnt, click Close and remove the CD. Okay, so I'm going to grab one of my 5 CDs that I labeled Level 1 Seed, and I'm going to pop that into my CDR drive. Okay, once that loads up, I'm going to go to my Files folder, go down to Documents, and I'm going to highlight Yeti seed.txt, right-click, copy, go down to the CDR drive, right-click, paste, and I'm going to click Write to Disk, and burn. Okay, data CD successfully burned. Awesome. So I'm going to take that out of the CDR drive, get my case, pop that back in. Okay, I'm going to close that, X out of that, and go back to the steps. Repeat steps 1 through 4 so that you have a total of 5 seed CDs containing the same Yeti seed.txt file, and then click Next to continue. Okay, for example, I'm going to grab one of those other CDs that I haven't burned yet that have the level 1 seed labeled on them. I'm going to pop that into my CDR drive, copy over the same Yeti seed text file, and then burn it, eject it, and do that for the other 3 seeds. So I'm going to have a total of 5 seed CDs with the same Yeti seed.txt file on them. Ensure that you have a Yeti seed.txt on each of your 5 CDs labeled seed before clicking Next. Okay, so I'm going to burn the rest of those CDs off camera, and when I'm done, I'll be right back. Okay, and I'm back. I've burned all 5 CDs, so let's go ahead and click Next. Step 8. Check seed on CD 1 of 5. If you lose access to more than 4 of your seeds, your Bitcoin will be permanently lost. Insert one of your 5 CDs labeled seed level 1 and select the file Yeti seed.txt, and then click Next to continue. Okay, I'm going to pop in one of my 5 CDs labeled level 1 seed. Okay, it's loaded up, so I'm going to click the Browse button. Go down to the CDR drive, Yeti seed.txt, and open. So once you open the text file, it will paste automatically all of your NATO phonetic alphabet words, which is your seed. If you don't know what the NATO phonetic alphabet is, it's what the military uses. Capital Kilo, all capital letters, is just a capital K. Lowercase whiskey is a lowercase W. Lowercase India is a lowercase I, and so on. So it actually shows you if something's wrong, it's going to show red, and it's going to show green if you're good to go. So all these are good to go, and I'm just going to hit Next. Step 9, check seed on CD 2 of 5. So I'm going to check all 5 CDs, and when I'm done, I'll be right back. Okay, I've checked all 5 disks, so let's go ahead and go to the next step. Step 14, copy erase file to USB. Insert the USB drive labeled Transfer. Open the Files application and click on Documents. Copy the file named erase.txt to the USB drive and then eject it. Okay, let's pop in our USB labeled Transfer. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and open up the files, go down to Documents, and I'm going to copy the erase.txt, right-click, copy, and I'm going to go to my USB drive labeled Transfer, right-click, paste, and I'm going to eject it. Go back to the step. Your Yeti wallet is now ready to test by sending and receiving small amounts. On a device other than your Ubuntu laptop, go to guide1.yeticode.com for step 15. So I'm going to head on over to my Windows PC, open up an internet browser, and go to guide1.yeticode.com. Step 15. Send and receive using Bitcoin Core. Send and receive a small amount to confirm your wallet is working correctly. After you have finished testing, click Next to continue. Receive. Step 1. Open the Receive tab. In the Bitcoin Core application on your laptop, click Receive. Step 2. Create a new receiving address. Click Create New Receiving Address. Okay. And then step 3. Confirm you have the correct wallet selected. Confirm that your wallet shows Yeti Wallet Hot. You can now send money to the wallet using the QR code or the address displayed below it. Okay, so let's head on over to our Ubuntu laptop, launch the Bitcoin Core wallet, and go through those steps. Okay, so I'm back on my Ubuntu laptop, so let's head on over to the B. We see the overview, balance, send, receive, and past transactions. Let's go to receive. And let's create a new receiving address. Okay, so we see the QR code with the new receiving address, and the wallet is showing Yeti Wallet Hot, so we are good to go. So I'm going to go to my phone wallet. I'm going to go to the scan QR code option, and I'm just going to put that up to the screen, and it automatically loads the address. I'm just going to double check the address. Looks good. I'm going to send $10 worth of Bitcoin. Now I'm going to choose the fee. So I'm going to choose a low priority fee because I'm in no rush for it to get there. And I'm going to click send. Bitcoin Core incoming transaction, 0.0003 BTC. Very cool. Click OK on that. And I can go to my transactions. And I can double click on that and check the status. And right now I have 0 confirmation, so it's unconfirmed and it's still in the memory pool. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and close that. Go back to overview. And you can see pending amount, 0.0003. So I'm going to wait for that to confirm, and when it does, I'll be back and I'll show you how to send it out of your Bitcoin wallet. And I'm back. My transaction has successfully confirmed on the Bitcoin blockchain. And if we go to my Bitcoin Core wallet, we can see my available balance is 0.003. So now that that's confirmed, let's go through on how to send the Bitcoin to another wallet. For that, I'm going to jump on over to my Windows PC, and I'm going to scroll down to the send instructions. Step 1, open the send tab. Click send. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click send. Scroll down. Step 2, enter the transaction information. Paste in your recipient address into the Pay To text box and set an amount. Then click send. Okay. So I've copied my recipient address onto a USB.txt file. So I'm going to just pop that in, open in address.txt. I'm going to copy my address. Paste it in. Okay, amount, I'm going to use the available balance, or 0.0003 Bitcoin. And then that's automatically going to subtract the fee from the amount. And then we're going to select the transaction fee. We're just going to go with the recommended for 24 hours. And I'm going to click send. Okay. Step 3, confirm your transaction details. Review your transaction, then click send. All right, I'm just going to look at my wallet that I'm sending to and just make sure that that address is correct. Okay, it looks good. And I'm going to go ahead and click send. Bitcoin Core, sent transaction. So if we double click on the transaction, we see that there's 0 confirmations and it's in the memory pool. Okay, now that we've broadcasted the transaction successfully, let's go ahead and head on over to our Windows PC and continue with the steps. Okay, so go ahead and click the next button. Step 16, restore your wallet. Restore your wallet with one of your CDs to make sure you can recover your wallet. Okay, I got one of my CDs. Restart Yeti on your laptop by clicking on the 9 dots in the bottom left corner and open level 1. Click Recover Wallet and follow the steps until you have tested sending and receiving a small amount of Bitcoin using your freshly restored wallet. Okay, so I'm going to head on over to my Ubuntu laptop. I'm going to go down to the 9 dots in the bottom left corner and double click the level 1 icon. Punch in my password. Okay, create or recover a wallet. Let's head over to the Recover Wallet button and click that. And that's going to launch Bitcoin Core. Okay, let's head back to step 5, finish downloading the blockchain. Go ahead and click next. Step 6, import seed. Insert any of your seed CDs and select the file yetiseed.txt and then click next to continue. Okay, let's pop in one of our seed CDs. Okay, and once that loads up, go ahead and click browse. Head down to the CDR drive. Select yhc.txt and click open. Scroll down and click next. Step 7, rescan blockchain. To rescan the blockchain, click next. This can take up to 1 hour. Okay, go ahead and click next. Okay, so Bitcoin Core is rescanning the blockchain, and when that's done, I'll be right back. Okay, now that Bitcoin Core successfully rescanned the blockchain, let's go ahead and go to our B. Let's do that test receive transaction. So click the receive tab and click on create new receiving address. Okay, we're just going to confirm that wallet is showing Yeti wallet. How it looks good. So I'm going to go over to my phone wallet, click on scan QR code, and scan the QR code. All right, I'm going to send 0.0004 Bitcoin. Okay, go ahead and click send. Bitcoin Core, incoming transaction. Awesome. Let's go ahead and click OK. Go to transactions. And if we double click on the transaction, we can see 0 confirmations and it's in the memory pool. Okay, once that confirms on the blockchain, I'll be back and we'll do a test send transaction. Okay, so my transaction has confirmed on the blockchain. So let's go ahead and do a test send. Go to the send tab and we're going to want to enter a pay to address. I have my address on a flash drive that's in a text file, so I'm going to pop that in. Okay, open up the USB flash drive. And double click address.txt, copy the address, X out, eject, right click, paste in my address, and then I'm going to use the available balance, 0.0004 Bitcoin, and I'm going to use the recommended fee, and I'm going to click send. Okay, and then I'm just going to double check my address and the fee. And I'm going to go ahead and click send. Bitcoin Core, send transaction. Awesome. Okay, so now that we've done a receive and a send test, let's go back to our steps on our other PC. When you have finished testing your restored wallet, click next to continue. Okay, go ahead and click next. Step 17, store seed packets and deposit funds. Store your seed packets in safe locations and then deposit the funds you wish to store in your Yeti wallet. Label 5 envelopes something like Do Not Open, Last Will and Testament of Steve Jones, delivered to next of kin. If anyone discovers the envelopes, they should know it is important, but inappropriate and uninteresting to open them. Do not give any indication these envelopes are related to Bitcoin. Now remember, earlier in the setup of the Level 1 wallet, we created 5 CDs that have the same seed on each one. Place each seed CD in its own envelope. You will then have 5 different seed packets with the same seed in each one. This means if someone gets control of one of your seed packets, they now have access to your Bitcoin. But this also means you can lose or destroy 4 of them, and you will still be able to recover your Bitcoin wallet. Store the envelopes in places such as home and office safes, lawyers' offices, accountant offices, safety deposit boxes, and trusted friends or family members. Lawyers and accountants regularly store important documents for customers without charging a fee. Even if you need to pay for an unnecessary review of your books or your existing will to create a new relationship with a lawyer or an accountant, the annual cost to have these documents safely stored and handed over to your loved ones if you die is very cheap. Ensure that you distribute your seed packets geographically so that you will be able to recover at least 3 after a major natural disaster. Do not tell anyone storing these envelopes that they are Bitcoin related. Anyone storing these documents should believe they are important, but do not offer a thief financial rewards. Consider that someone needs to have only 1 seed packet to spend your Bitcoin. After you have secured your seed packets off-site, deposit the funds you wish to secure in Yeti Wallet and then click Next to continue. Okay, let's go ahead and click Next. Step 18, erase your laptop. Erase your laptop to ensure your Bitcoin can only be spent using your seed packets. So this step is optional in cases where you're going to be using your wallet frequently, sending and receiving small amounts. So let's go ahead and head on over to our Ubuntu laptop and begin the steps. Okay, in the top right corner, hit the arrow down, go to power off, and power off one more time. Now we're going to insert our bootable Ubuntu USB, power back on the laptop, hold the escape button to get to the boot menu, and arrow down to that thumb drive. Okay, we're going to go ahead and let the Ubuntu install page load up, and we're going to hit try Ubuntu. Okay, once that loads up, we're going to insert our transfer USB, open that up, take the erase.txt file, copy that, and go to the documents folder, paste it into the documents folder. Okay, X out of that, go to your bottom left 9 dots and go to terminal, open up terminal. And then we're going to go back to the documents folder, open up the text file, and copy that first command. And we're going to paste that into the terminal and hit enter. And then we're checking to see if the hard drive is frozen. Right now it is frozen for me. Okay, a quick fix for that is to go to the top right corner, power off, click suspend, and after a few seconds, power back on the laptop. And then we're going to go back to the terminal. And open up the terminal. Right-click the same command, enter. And now it's not frozen. If your hard drive is still showing that it's frozen, go ahead and contact Yeti support at yeticold.slack.com. Okay, now we're going to go back to the text file, and we're going to copy the second command. Go ahead and copy that. And right-click and paste into the terminal and hit enter. Okay, now that we see that is successfully completed, we're going to go back to the text file, copy the third command, and right-click and paste that into the terminal. Okay, now it's issuing the security erase command. After a few minutes, you should see it complete, and there it is. It is now completed. Okay, now that we've erased the laptop, let's head back on over to our PC and continue the steps. Your laptop has now been erased, and you have completed setup of Yeti Level 1. Awesome. Now that you've set up your Bitcoin wallet, be sure to check out the Yeti Cold Slack group. You can find an invite link below in the description of this video, or you can check us out on Twitter at Yeti Wallet. The Yeti Cold Slack group is a great place to find support and chat with fellow community members. Be sure if you get any advice to let community members verify that that advice is correct. The Slack group is open to the public so anyone can comment. 3 trusted members that are the project managers behind YetiCold.com are Will, JW, and Robert. When you are ready, consider upgrading to the Yeti Level 2 Bitcoin wallet. In Level 2, we create 7 seeds and distribute them in different locations. You then need 3 of the 7 seeds to access your funds. This further increases the security of your wallet. That concludes the Yeti Level 1 Bitcoin wallet setup guide. I hope everyone enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.